Hi guys, and welcome back to a new multiple careers video. In case you are thinking about what career it is that you want to pursue, or you're at a crossroads trying to decide between career A or career B, listen to some of this unconventional advice that I've curated for you. But before we start, in case you are someone who wants to have a fulfilling and meaningful career instead of just going with the flow and doing what everyone else does, then this channel is for you. I make videos that help you to build the best possible career. If that is something that you want, make sure to subscribe and turn that notification bell to all notifications so that you won't miss a single video from me. One career question that many people ask is, should you be a generalist or a specialist? Well, it turns out that it's not as clear-cut. This is what Tim Ferriss has to say to the question of, should you be a generalist or a specialist?
Should I specialize or should I be a generalist? And my answer, in short, would be you should be a specialized generalist.
What in the world is a specialized generalist, Tim? Tim Ferriss refers to a piece of brilliant career advice he got from Scott Adams, creator of Dilbert, which in essence is to try to combine a handful of skills that are rarely combined. He further explains that if you combine two skills that are valuable and rare, for example, a computer science degree with a law degree, or extreme knowledge in finance or mathematics plus public speaking skills, then you will have a competitive advantage. How many great lawyers are there? Plenty. How many finance experts are there? Countless. But a lawyer who also understands the intricacies of computer science, or perhaps even cyberspace, or an investor who can convey complex economic principles in a very digestible way. Like this guy, Jack Chappell, one of my favorite channels, by the way.
So you're not trying to master 1,000 different skills. You're not dabbling as a dilettante in a million things and never going, say, a mile deep. But you are spreading yourself out across multiple skills that are rarely combined and can be very effectively combined.
And here he cites Warren Buffett as an example. Warren Buffett is one of the world's most successful investors, but he's also an excellent public speaker. He learned his public speaking skills from a Dale Carnegie speaking course. And speaking skills in general provide a lever for any other skills.
So you're choosing a handful of things that combine very, very well, as opposed to trying everything or planting all of your bets in one particular spot. It can make sense to specialize, but only if you are the LeBron James of your field or can be in the top.
Some skills that Tim suggests are public speaking, writing, negotiating as add-on skills or multipliers to core skills. Careers that would otherwise be standalone careers, like a writing career and a financial career, can be combined into a hybrid career. And with that, you can secure yourself an automatic competitive advantage. We just talked about the what of careers, the question about what career or what combination of careers to pursue. But another important thing to consider is the price of being exceptional. Have you ever thought about how exceptional you want to be in your career? How ambitious are you with career achievement? And what value do you put on career achievement compared to success and happiness in other areas of your life? And it's not as straightforward, because with every unit of energy and time that you invest into your career, you will have less time and energy to put into the other areas of your life. There is a price for being exceptional. This is what Jordan B. Peterson, professor of psychology, clinical psychologist, has to say about people who pursue exceptional status in a narrow domain.
It's hard on them. They don't have a life. It's very difficult for them to have a family. They don't know how to take any leisure activity, like they get very one-dimensional. Now, it may be that unidimensionality is the price you have to pay to be exceptional at one thing, right? Because if you're going to be something like a genius-level mathematician, and you want to do that or a scientist, say, it's like you're in your lab all the time, you're working 70 hours a week or 80 hours a week, you're smart, you're dedicated, you're unidimensional, and that's how you get to beat all the other people who are doing that. It's the only way. But the problem is you don't get a life.
So, do you want to have a life? That's the choice you have to make. Be careful, or rather be very clear about what you wish for, because depending on how you set your priorities and your career goals, your life can turn out very differently. Listen what Jordan Peterson has to say about the risks of leading a unidimensional life.
It's a risky business to do that. You sacrifice a lot for it. And I would say most often, if you're speaking about having a healthy life, that isn't what you do. You spread yourself out more. So, you have a family, you have some things that you do outside of work that are meaningful to you and useful. You have a network of friends, plenty to keep you well oriented. And then if one of those things collapses, everything doesn't go. Now, the price you pay for that is the more you strive to optimize that balance, the less likely you are to be fantastically successful at any single one of them. There's a lot more richness in a life where you have 5 things operating at 80%, but you're not operating at any of them at 150%.
And the next person offers very good advice about going all in. Gary Vee, entrepreneur, author, and speaker, talks about taking risks. Here's Gary Vee's advice for new graduates, but I think his advice applies to anyone who wants to start a new career or change careers. He says that the number one thing to do is the most high-risk behavior of your life. He says that this is exactly when you should go and live in Bali for a year. This is exactly when you try and become Beyonce. This is exactly when you do the highest risk. And what your parents and society do is telling you to do the lowest risk maneuver. The number one thing you should be thinking about is the highest risk behavior around the things that you think is going to make you the happiest. And now, before you think that this is a free pass to just doing anything, it is not. This is my interpretation. Choose the kind of risk that you can manage and is likely to pay off. And while younger people can oftentimes afford to take more risk truly depends on your circumstances. What risks are we looking at exactly? If you are 40 years old but you are financially independent, you can certainly afford to take career risks. But if you have $0 in your bank account and you have serious health issues, then even at 22, it might not be the best time to take risks. You might only be 25, but see the risk of failure that comes with starting a business as an inconceivable risk. But what is actually the risk? Are you perhaps overestimating the risk? And doesn't the true risk lie in not pursuing what is meaningful to you? Another recommendation that Gary Vee has is to go work literally for free or like minimum wage or as little as possible for the exact human being that you aspire to be. At 23, 24, 25, you should go work for Vera Wang for free, and at night you should work at Whole Foods at a night shift, and you should live with 8 people, so you only need to make $300. But everybody does the reverse. They take a job they don't even like for $3,000 more. He also says that what many people end up doing is let parents, society dictate their lives, who they then later resent because they followed their path instead of their own. People are just not very rational in making career decisions. Something that this next person, Sharon Belden Castongue, adult developmental psychologist and career counselor, realized very well.
Most people do not make career decisions rationally, but rather based on deeply held, often unconscious biases that they receive from their social surround. They're highly influenced by their parents, their peers, their local communities, and to then follow others into things that they have done as well.
Just take a moment and think about the career that you've been pursuing. In how far has this been your choice? Have you made an independent choice for yourself? Or have you followed a career path that others expected you to choose? If your career is a story, have you been following someone else's script? In case you get this dull feeling that you're not pursuing the kind of career that you really want, it's not too late. It's not too late for a change. No matter if you're 25, 35, 45, and so on, it's not too late to change the script.
Your script is iterative. And like any writing process, it's likely to be messy. I urge you to embrace that messiness. Own your story, and don't let others write it for you.
Your career is an ongoing story. It's less like a 90-minute feature film that's a one-off. It's more like an episodic series, Let's say that for the first season, or even the first 2 seasons, you followed someone else's script. But for the next season and episodes, start writing your own. Your career, as your life, has 3 parts: the past, the present, and the future. And while the past cannot be changed, the future is still open. And you have all the power to change that right now in the present. If you want a fulfilling career and a fulfilling life, ask yourself this $1 million question. Linda Gratton, an organizational theorist, also co-author of the book The 100-Year Life, talks about the importance of shaping your future and a shift in the meaning of work itself.
What sort of a life do I want to construct? If we look into the future, you could walk into the future blindfold. You know, you can walk into a default future where you don't make choices, you let the future unroll in front of you, or you could be a lot more thoughtful about the future that you want to create. You can create, in other words, a crafted future.
What kind of future do you want? What would your ideal career look like? Are you going to be a passive character in your career? One who goes with the flow and lets the currents guide you to wherever? Or are you going to be the protagonist of your story? There's a major shift happening to what work means in this day and age, and that concerns the meaning of work as well as the relationship between work, money, and happiness.
And the final shift is this. When organizations began to industrialize, the deal between the worker was very simple. You work to earn money, to buy stuff that makes you happy. I don't think that that's working anymore. I mean, what we're beginning to realize is there's very little correlation between higher standards of living and better feelings about happiness or quality of life. And what we're also realizing is that if we're going to be working till 75, which we will be, and if we're going to have work as the center of our life, which for most of us it will be, work is where we find meaning. And I believe that in the future, the shift comes less from thinking about work as a means of making money to buy stuff that you can consume, but rather to see work itself as a source of enormous creativity and a source of enormous possibilities in terms of what would help each one of us to become the very best we can.
We are living in the best time ever, a time that allows us more freedom and flexibility to craft our careers. Yes, rent prices are skyrocketing, inflation is going crazy, but in the midst of all of this, there are a multitude of ways to make it work. The flexibility that this modern life allows us makes it possible for everyone to shape their career with more freedom than ever. But more about that another time. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and very important, hit the notification bell and click all notifications so that YouTube will notify you each time there's a new video from me. Thanks so much for watching and see you again next time.